for having taken the initiative to assemble us all together to discuss this topic. And as Rameshji said, there could be no better principal speaker than Swami Agnivesh, who has stood up against hatred for such a long time, decades now. He was telling me that on the 21st of September he will turn 79. I told him he doesn't look it. His face is that of a young man, but I think what keeps him young is the passion for justice and the passion for doing the right thing and saying the right thing, which should animate all of us in public life. What Swami Agnivesh has stood for over the years has ranged from the abolition of bonded labor, as Ramesh Chennantala reminded us, to today fighting the forces of communalism in our country. And you know, it's very interesting. The whole phenomenon of communalism has risen once again in the last quarter of a century or so, in ways that people like Mr. Hassan and Ramesh and I would never have expected when we were young men. I still remember in the 80s when M.J. Akbar started writing articles about the communal menace in the mid-80s. And he was at one time a friend of mine, so I remember a lunch with him in Calcutta when I was visiting from my service to the UN. And I said, Akbar, why are you going on and on about communalism? This issue is over. The secular battle has been won. We have all grown up in a secular India. It's time for us now to focus on other challenges, the economy, the transformation of our country, making India ready for the 21st century. And I remember him saying to me, I'm sorry, you're wrong. The single most important issue that's coming up is the rise of the BJP. At that point, they had 2 seats in parliament. He said they are a dangerous party. They stand for the worst communal instincts in this country. And he said they are the story we have to write because communal violence can damage this country unrecognizably. And the same MJ Akbar 3 decades later joined the very people he was warning me against, but that's a footnote. I think the important realization that I had then was then confirmed by the violence that started in our country in the late 80s with the so-called Ram Shila Pujan movement, when they were baking bricks across villages in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, in order to take them to Ayodhya to build the temple. A number of riots took place over the Ram Shila Pujan. I myself wrote a novel, Riot, Malayalathil Karabam, the Venul Kana Sadikim. Riot was set at that period and at that time. And then, of course, we had the destruction of the Babri Masjid, after which we know that the communal atmosphere in our country has never been the same.